So, over the next few days, over the next few weeks, you're going to learn the secret to drawing. And the secret to drawing, I'm going to tell you today. So, just to kind of show you how using this trick, how using these tricks are going to make you a better artist. This is the course that I used. It's called Drawing from the Right Side of Your Brain. And this is the before and after of people who took this course for about, I think this was like a weekend. So this is a self-portrait before, and this is the after. And here's just some more examples. Now, are the after images perfect? No, because drawing well does require a lifetime of practice. But if you can go from this to this in just a few days, imagine what you can do if you put a lot of time into it. Look at the difference before and after. And I did the same thing, and I had very similar results. So how do you, and this is, a pretty good drawing, but this is much, much better. How do you do it? What is the secret to drawing? And the trick is you need to stop using your mind to predict what you're drawing. You need to stop trying to draw an eye when you see an eye. You don't want to go like this when you see an eyeball. When you're drawing an eyeball, you don't want to do that. Because that's an icon. That's a representation of an eyeball. When we actually look at an eye, you'll notice that there's dark areas, there's light areas, there's a lot more going on. You got the overall shape, which is a good starting point, but if you're not putting in all the other important details, the lights and the darks, then it's not going to come out like you want it. So if we're doing a side-by-side drawing here of, let's say, this thing right here, the first thing I want to do is I want to make sure that I know exactly where I'm going to start. I want to make sure it's in the exact right spot. So if this right here is where this touches the edge, I'm going to maybe start right there, and I'm going to do a line that goes approximately the same angle, like that. My angle is a little bit steeper, but that's fine. If I wanted to redo it, I could, but we don't have to go completely crazy here. Okay, so I got that, and then I'm going to think about what does the next line do? It goes over here. How exactly long is it? I'm going to pay attention to that. I'm going to come up here, following the exact contours that I see, and then my eye is going back, forth, back, forth, back, forth, and that's the real trick. And then I look at it, and I compare it. I say, does that look right? Yeah, it looks right. And then right about here, we have a line that goes down. Now look at the distance between this point and this point. Is it the same? It looks pretty much. You can actually take your finger and measure it if you want to. And then I'm going to come in, I'm going to do this point. It's maybe a little painstaking, may seem a little bit tedious. I can redo that if I want to get the exact right angle. But this is what it takes to be a good artist. So I'll come out here now, and I'll draw that, and I'll just kind of check, am I about the right distance from the bottom? I'm a little low, that's okay. I'm going to just pay attention to that. Come in here, and another trick, as you get better, you can kind of think about more than one thing. I know right now it's going to be a little bit overwhelming, is thinking about drawing the negative space. So over here we have this kind of shape. Over here we have this shape. If you could think about drawing that instead of drawing this inner part, it actually is going to end up being a much better drawing. And the reason why is because your proportions are going to be correct. If you just draw this part right here, the inside part, your mind is going to focus on that. You may get this part off, and what that means is everything's going to be the wrong size. The proportions are not going to be correct. So if I go over here and I go straight across, you see that I'm about the right height. So let me start coming down now. And I'm going to start in one area, and I'm going to work my way out. I'm not going to do like the entire head just yet. And let me look at the distance between here and here, or from the edge of this paper to here. Is it about the same? And I feel like I went too far down here. I kind of spilled into, I think I kind of went way down here, when I probably should have stopped right about there. So if I wanted to, I could get my eraser out and I can see that I can make this little line right here. Probably mine's too high, so maybe I'll Control Z that. And it's okay to, you know, make mistakes. And if you want to erase them, you can. If you want to just keep going and you'll get better each time you do it, that's fine too. You don't have to have everything perfect, but what you really want is to make sure that it's approximately the same proportions. And I probably wanted to go down here, so I could maybe come back in and erase that little part later. Not super important, but there we go. And I'm paying attention to how low it is. Am I about the right height for this? Maybe I'm a little too low, but that's okay. Come down to the bottom, give myself a little bit of space right there. You don't want to come all the way to the bottom because it's not there. And your eye just needs to be constantly thinking about these things. And once you get it, once you train yourself to do this, everything else just falls into place, and you start realizing. And when I draw this curve, I'm paying attention to where does it curve in relation to the mouth. And I'm probably a little too high. I probably should have started curving a little earlier. But let's go ahead and just go with it. And look how far away I am from the mouth. Way too far. So I might want to come back and be like, oh, wasn't paying attention there. I really need to. In fact, maybe I'll come in from the other direction here, from the actual mouth. Oops, I lost my full screen. Maybe it'd be better if I came this way. And that's a weird little curvy area right there, and then just kind of pull myself in. And I have a line like this. These lines aren't as important because they're just kind of highlights on the hair, so if they're not perfectly proportioned, it's not going to make much difference. But I shouldn't be thinking about hair. I should not be thinking about what these things are. I should just be drawing exactly what I see. Notice I'm going straight across. You know, I'm really paying attention to how high, how low, how far to the left and right. And I'll draw this line. And they may not feel like eyes to you right now. This is really kind of careful work, and if you need to zoom in here, feel free to do so. Now notice it kind of comes in right above the bump, so I want to pay attention to where I'm bringing it in. And just my eye is just constantly going back and forth to try to get those proportions. And I might notice there's a few spots I want to kind of clean up as I look through it. Some of my lines maybe could be a little thicker. That's fine. Okay, and then let me just go ahead and do the other side of the hair. And if I want to take a second to measure, you know, how far away is this part? I'm going to use my fingers right now to measure the distance, and I see that the hair comes in right about there. I noticed that it curves right at the nose. I went a little too high, didn't I? So should I redo that? It goes there and it starts to, let's go just to the nose, and then it curves up, and then across, and then back. And how low does it go? It goes a little bit higher than this one. So I'll just kind of bring it right about there. Comes this way, zig. I didn't quite get that part right, but for the sake of time, let's not worry about it. And as I said before, I kind of messed up right there. But let's go ahead and just take a quick look at what this looks like. Image rotation, 180 degrees. Not my best work, but oh, I forgot to finish his eye right there. Kind of cheating, but I'll let you go ahead and cheat a little bit too when you get to it. Not bad. Hopefully though, with a little practice, I know this might seem a little painstaking and tedious to some of you, especially if you've never done anything like this before, but the practice is definitely worth it, and you will get better the more that you do it. And that's the secret to drawing.